story that's kind of been lost amongst all of the Messi reports is, of course, that Luis Suarez leaving Catalonia, his destination, plenty of clubs linked to him, including Atletico and Juventus. Ali, we talked about this last week. Mentally, he'll think, definitely, I can still play at the very highest level. Can he at clubs like those?
Well, let me take Juventus first, and the case for Juventus in trying to chase after Luis Suarez. There is no case. This is essentially a sidestep from Higuaín to Luis Suarez, and I don't think that you achieve much there. Although Luis Suarez at his best can still score goals with some consistency, the problem is injuries. And now there is a history of injuries. And so why go chase yet another 33-something-year-old, a guy that has struggled staying on the field over the last couple of seasons? It doesn't quite make sense from Juventus' perspective and go spend a whole lot of money to bring a guy that really is kind of an Higuaín. You just had that issue. You didn't really deal with it with Higuaín being there. And now you're going to bring yet another guy that is going to have some of the same problems, an aging superstar, and a guy that, yes, can score goals, but will also create some issues for you if he's not on the field. And that's a decision that then you're going to have Pirlo making in terms of what the rotation is going to be. I don't think that that's the direction that Juventus should go into. As for Atletico Madrid, I think that's a different story, because now you bring in an element, an emotional element for Luis Suarez in saying, you know what, there's a certain motivation to stay in La Liga and to prove that I can still score goals at this level. And mind you, no team plays more with a chip on their shoulder than a Diego Simeone team. So the matchup of Diego Simeone, Luis Suarez, Atletico Madrid, a chip on their shoulder, Barcelona, resentment, all of those things come together and make a whole lot of sense for Atletico Madrid, and it makes a whole lot of sense for Luis Suarez as well.
I'm not as convinced, particularly around Atletico Madrid. Just given the style that we've seen from Atleti over the years, given what we know of Diego Simeone and what he'll expect out of his players, I'm not sure that Luis Suarez is that player. Emotionally, yes, but I'm not sure he's the one to go chasing back. He's the one to do the kind of work that'll be expected of him. As far as Juventus goes, as good a job as Juventus have done with bringing players in who may be surplus to other big clubs' requirements and making successes of them, it's a position here. And whereas Ronaldo doesn't fall into that previous category, you put Luis Suarez alongside an aging Cristiano Ronaldo. Again, given the fact that I don't think you get the kind of work rate out of Luis Suarez that you would want or expect, or playing alongside Ronaldo would need, that too does not make any kind of sense to me.
Meanwhile, Leeds have smashed their transfer record by bringing Rodrigo over from La Liga. And there's always a bit of a lottery whenever you make any sort of, not gambles like this, but signings like this, going from one league to another. And I'm thinking of Roberto Soldado in particular, who scored goals in La Liga for fun and then struggled in England. Can Rodrigo supersede what he did, Ali?
Yeah, well, that's not going to be all that difficult to supersede whatever Roberto Soldado did. I think the bar is very low if that's indeed the bar that we're shooting after here. All I would say is that Rodrigo, instead of being a guy that is going to depend on scoring a bunch of goals like Soldado was relied upon to do and obviously failed to do so, I think Rodrigo gives you flexibility in the attack and gives you a change of speed and an ability on one-on-one situations. And is more of a back-and-forth player, more of an open game player, which I think suits what happens a lot in the Premier League. And when it becomes about athleticism and running with the ball, he can do a lot of those things. But if you're Leeds and teams that are kind of trying to find their footing within the Premier League, well, these are the players that you can go after. You cannot go after the big name players. That's not your market. And so you'll go after the young, up-and-coming player that has a lot of potential. And if that potential is realized, now you're a genius. And now you're flying because you feel like you've taken the right step, and the right step in making sure that not only are you a major player in the Premier League, but first and foremost, that you stay in the Premier League.
Again, this is one I'm a little bit torn on. Listen, Rodrigo's numbers have not been great. And as much as Leeds aim to create a lot of opportunities under Bielsa, teams that are newly promoted struggle to do that. Now, we will see exactly how Leeds and Bielsa copes with the Premier League and that transition. And maybe that provides more opportunities for Rodrigo to get himself on the score sheet, to make those numbers look a lot more respectable. But what we've seen of him over the last couple of seasons at the very least, I'm not sure that he answers those questions otherwise.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.